Okay, so in just the last few hours, something major has happened. A confidential plan has been leaked, and it looks like it could push the entire world into a massive, catastrophic war. The details are absolutely chilling, and they point to something big happening this weekend.
So the question, really, the only question that matters right now is this it? Are we really on the brink? Well, based on everything that's now coming out, the answer seems to be yeah. It looks like it. The plans are made, the pieces are on the board, and the clock is ticking.
So the first real bombshell here is that this isn't just some dusty old what-if scenario. This is a finalized, detailed blueprint for a U.S. attack on Iran. And sources are saying this isn't a contingency, it's a go package, ready to launch in days, maybe even hours. And just look at the target list. This is not a surgical strike. This is a full-on decapitation plan. We're talking about taking out the entire leadership of the country. The supreme leader, the president, every single top military commander, every government minister, gone, all at once. And while they're at it, destroy their nuclear facilities. The goal here is pretty clear: total regime change, executed with overwhelming force. But here's where this whole story gets really crazy. The biggest pushback against this plan? It's not coming from another country. It's coming from inside the Pentagon itself, from the very people who would have to carry it out. And they are sounding a massive alarm.
90%. Just let that number sink in for a second. This isn't just a few people with doubts. This is nearly everyone. But 90% of what? It's 90% of the president's own advisors. We're talking top generals, intelligence officials, diplomats who have told him point blank that going through with this attack would be an absolute catastrophe for the United States. And this is why the plan hoped for a quick, crippling strike, in and out. But the experts, they're predicting a nightmare. They're talking thousands of American lives lost, U.S. warships, and even aircraft carriers at the bottom of the sea, and our Arab allies in the region turning their backs on us completely. They're not talking about a war that lasts for weeks. They're talking about a conflict that could drag on for years. And you better believe the fallout from this wouldn't just be on the battlefield. The economic shockwave would hit immediately. It would hit every single country, and it would hit all of us right in the wallet.
And it all comes down to this one little waterway, the Strait of Hormuz. It is the most important oil choke point on the planet. A war here would slam it shut, instantly taking 20 million barrels of oil from Saudi Arabia, Iraq, the UAE, off the market every single day.
So what does that do to prices? Well, they'd absolutely explode. You'd see oil jump from maybe $85 a barrel right now to $150, maybe even higher. That kind of spike would almost certainly trigger a global recession.
Now you have to remember, none of this is happening in a vacuum. Let's pull back and look at the global chessboard, because the other major powers are watching this unfold, and they are definitely not staying on the sidelines.
First, you've got immense pressure coming from Israel. The message they're reportedly sending to the U.S. is blunt, it's urgent, and it's this: we need this attack this week. From their perspective, this is a critical moment to eliminate the Iranian threat for good. And Iran's response? It's been just as direct, and frankly, it's chilling. They've publicly promised a counterattack on a scale that, in their words, America has never seen before. They're not bracing for a punch. They're promising total war. And then, right in the middle of all this, as tensions were hitting a boiling point, this happened. A 5.5 magnitude seismic event was detected in southern Iran.
Now, was it just a random earthquake? Maybe, but intelligence circles are buzzing right now because the seismic readings have led some to believe this wasn't nature at all. They think it could have been a secret, powerful missile test, a final, underground message sent to Washington showing what Iran is capable of.
And this isn't happening in isolation. Both Russia and China have issued very stern, very public warnings to the U.S. to back off. And it's not just talk. They're actually running joint military drills in the area right now, a clear show of force. You have to understand their thinking. If Iran falls, they're worried they'll be next on the list.
So that brings us right back to this very moment. The threats have been made, the warnings had been sent, the armies are moving. And the entire world is just holding its breath, waiting for one person to make the final call.
The tension is so real that people who bet on these things, these political prediction markets, have now put the odds of an attack happening this weekend at 60%. Think about that. The so-called wisdom of the crowd is now saying war is more likely than peace. But in the end, despite the warnings from his own team, despite the threats from other world powers, despite the disastrous economic predictions, it all comes down to one person. The US president makes the call, and he alone will be responsible for what comes next. The intelligence is out there, the battle lines are drawn, and the war plan is sitting on the desk. We are in the final countdown. The only question left is, what happens when that clock hits 0?